Hello, this is the kind atheist. Um, Science, learning the Bible, and imaginary friends. Science is the only reason that religion has had to change. Science has shown that believing too much in anything is a terrible idea. World War II proved that believing too much in anything is a terrible idea. Hitler proved believing too much in anything is a terrible idea. Any religion has proven throughout history that believing too much in anything is a terrible idea. Can you learn anything in the Bible about the human body? Eve is taken out of a person, a rib. Eve is a rib in the Bible. How, this is not science. This is not reality. Um, Adam was formed from the ground. This is not. This doesn't happen. People don't how like people are born, and then there's evolution. Evolution is pretty much a fact. It's not a theory. So we were not formed from the ground. We were formed from apes who were formed from something else before that, before that, before that. So to say that we're not formed from the dust of the ground. Um, we might go back into sun after we decay for many, many years. We might go back into the ground. Um, um, can you learn anything about physics, about gravity, about can you learn anything about the history of the world outside of the Bible? The Bible only talks about the Middle East. It's the only part of the world it talks about. It doesn't know anything about other parts of Africa besides Egypt. It doesn't talk about any other parts of Europe, like France, or you know, it doesn't talk about other parts of Asia, India. It doesn't talk about it doesn't talk about North America or South America at all. It knows nothing about the rest of the world. It knows nothing about the universe and what the universe is. It's it's like believing in Peter Pan. It's like believing in a Disney movie. It's like in actually thinking this is real. This is reality. That people can fly. That carpets can fly. That beast, Beauty and the Beast. That there's a beast man that a woman falls in love. That you believe there's a mouse, a talking mouse, or a talking dog, and Mickey Mouse. You believe there's actually talking mice. You want to believe in any of this shit, in Disney movies or any just because they're a nice story. Um, the Bible is myth. It's purely myths, stories. There's no reason to believe they're true, um, unless you. I mean, there's no reason to think that Peter Pan or any of the Disney movies actually happened. If you think that, you have more problems than in your head than anything. Um, uh, can can the Bible solve? Can you learn anything about weather patterns in the Bible? Can you learn anything about rain or sunshine, or what the sun is, or what rain is, or what clouds are, or evaporation is? Can you learn any of this from the Bible? And you just learn that you know God is wrath. God causes these things. It causes thunder and lightning. It's there are, I guess, I don't know if there are people who actually believe that God makes the weather. I don't maybe did he cause the last hurricane to go through uh, East Coast? God caused Dorian. Why? Why did he does this every year? What does he do this every single year? He causes hurricanes to come through. What is the? I don't. Why? Why? He's not. He's not answering. So God speaks through weather. God speaks through mystery. God can't just say, "Hey." He speaks through a 2,000-year-old book. And he speaks through weather. What the? This makes no sense. It makes no sense at all on any level. And to pretend that it does is ridiculous. And people knew this before science. Now, before Darwin, people knew there were there were ancient atheists. They're atheists. There have always been atheists. But then for some reason we keep making new religions, which is just ridiculous. But for some reason, apparently, we have evolved religion. We have evolved with religion, and we already made a new one, Scientology, and I don't know how old Mormonism is, but I don't know how long are we going to keep people going to keep evolving religion or needing it for some reason. Can we learn anything about farming? There's a few passages where you throw seeds on the right ground in the Bible, but can you learn anything about how seeds grow, how seeds break open and grow in the ground, and how they make vegetation? Can you learn anything about this? You know, how much water to use, how much to, how to plant things. Can you learn that? There's these there are 3,000 different rules in the Bible, but so like there are commandments outside of the 10 Commandments that Jews were supposed to follow. How little any Christian knows about the Old Testament is how little I knew or still know, even as much as I do know. But still, I mean, that it's that how little of the Old Testament was actually taught. Probably because it was horrible, because it was crazy, because it was torture. It was. Can you learn anything about hygiene? How to take care of your own body? How to clean up after yourself? How to wipe your ass? How do you brush your teeth? Does it? No. People didn't even have, people died from their teeth. People had to use, we've only had toilet paper for like 100 years or maybe less. I've heard people used to have to use magazines before that. I mean, people used to use leaves. Can you learn anything about healthy sex? That's obviously no. That's why are we so afraid of sex? Why is it so afraid of this thing that's completely natural? I mean, sure, it can get out of hand, but what if you don't know what the problem is? How can you solve the problem? How can you just pretend like, oh well, praying to this God will help it? Praying to something will help this problem of STDs or whatever. Pregnancy, it won't help pregnancy. It won't help any. It won't. How many Christians had sex before they were married? How many people are on this world now because Christians or people who are religious had sex before they were married, which technically would send you to hell according to the Bible. So that's flat out just if you're a Christian and you had sex before you're married and you have a child or you're a child from someone who had sex before you married and you're a Christian, and it was out of wedlock. But you can't have sex before you're married. That's how many of these things were taught to me as fact, as just it's the way it is. And if you think this, I don't know how many people in America. I've heard there are a lot of people in America who have been taught this as a fact, which is ridiculous. Why have thousands of generations believe this as reality and truth? They believed it in the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages. You know, when the worst period, one of the worst millennia, or like many centuries, people dying from disease, and God didn't help them at all. God didn't help Europe in the Dark Ages. He let millions of people die. And there's the Crusades. And so not only did he not help, he commanded people, as he does all throughout the Bible, to kill other people. And probably made those people probably got sick who did God's will. If you believe there is a God, if this God cannot or will not speak for himself, then it's on you to explain his or her or its existence to the rest of us. I did believe. I tried to believe. I prayed in Jesus' name and thought it would help. It didn't. It fucking didn't do it. Problems kept happening. The same problem didn't go away. If I prayed, it didn't help. It just didn't fucking help. If you believe in the God of the Bible, then it is also on you if Yahweh, if that's your God's name, or if it's the God's name, apparently isn't speaking for himself, or if it's Yahweh, or if it's Jesus, or if it's Muhammad, or if it's Thor, or if it's Poseidon. I don't know. If it's your own personal version of Jesus. And if he hasn't spoken for at least 2,000 years, and I mean, the only time he did was to, 12 people. He spoke to 12 people, told them to write it down. The disciples, or he spoke to people in the Old Testament, but he spoke to people through their pen. That's it. He can't. He's all powerful. You say he's all powerful, but then he's not all powerful. He can't talk to everyone at the same time. In like Genesis, he can talk from the sky and shit, and like he's not doing that now. Why is he not talking from the sky now to everyone at the same time? How does he explain the atrocities and craziness in his book, in Yahweh's book, or in Muhammad's book? People say these are the same gods. These are not the same gods. Jewish, Christian, and Muslim God are not the same God at all. They are completely different contradictions. And there is no Jewish person, Christian person, or Muslim person who would say that they believe in the other's religion. But then they'll say, "Oh, they're all one God," but they really mean that all gods are their Christian God, or that there is no one who would actually accept a Jewish person or Christian person would never actually accept Muslim beliefs, and there's no Christian or Muslim who would accept the Jewish beliefs, and it's never going to happen. If there are Christians who don't accept Christian beliefs, there are people who argue over how to baptize someone, it never ends. The arguments never, that people make up their own religion out of the religion that they come from. If you were born in a world without the Bible, or part of the world where no one has ever heard of the Bible, why would you ever have any reason to believe it? Why couldn't this God speak to you before the missionaries came? I've heard that there are missionaries who have gone to other countries who are already Christian trying to convert them. Why didn't God tell them, "Oh, no, these people are already Christian. These people are already my people"? But they don't know that. and maybe they're a different kind of Christian. Maybe they're Catholic, which are, for some reason, I'll call them Christian. But I mean, I don't know. Protestant. What's the? I mean, are they? Who knows what any of this shit means? Um, and the Bible is not. It wasn't. It didn't come down from heaven. There are people who it wasn't like given to us from God. It was voted on. The books were voted on, and the Council of Nicaea. There's many. It took many. That's just the Bible. That's just the including the New Testament. But then there were many different. There's 66 books. Most of them probably never knew each other. The authors never knew each other. Never knew there was going to be a thing called the Bible. Um, and then it has to be drilled into you every single day. Sometimes I went to in grade school, a Lutheran. I went to a Lutheran grade school, a Lutheran high school, and church and Sunday school and all this shit. And it's not obvious that there's God. It's not. It is not obvious at all. That if it was obvious, you shouldn't have to have it drilled into you. It should just. Why do you have to go into a building? Why do you have to go into a church to find God? Why don't you find God in nature? Why do you find God? Why isn't God in the world? You have to go into. You have to go to church. You have to go into this building with a cross and a Bible and a stained glass windows, and I don't understand. Um, if you and that's if you went to a Christian school. A personal relationship with God or Jesus is a personal relationship with nothing and no one. It's no one. You don't. It's invisible. It's like having an invisible friend. Um, and if your only friend is God, then you have no friends. If the only person you talk to is God, then you're just talking to yourself. If the only person you do anything with is God, and you're just doing things with yourself, and you have no friends. Um, Many people do have friends. They don't realize it because they're focusing so much on God that they ignore the rest of the world or people in general. So yeah, that is that. Um, this has been Science Learning, the Bible, and Imaginary Friends. And this is the kind atheist. Thank you very much.